If you're living with diabetes, you know how important it is to carefully watch what you eat. Now, vegetables are generally fantastic, real nutritional powerhouses. But it might surprise you to learn that some vegetables, especially if they're overcooked, can actually cause your blood sugar to spike and can lose their vital nutrients. So, understanding which vegetables these are and why this happens is really crucial for keeping your blood sugar stable and staying healthy overall. It's all about making those healthy choices truly beneficial for you. 1. Potatoes, including sweet potatoes. First up on our list are potatoes. And yes, this includes sweet potatoes too. Potatoes are a staple food around the world, right? They're considered starchy vegetables, which means they're packed with carbohydrates that turn into sugar in your bloodstream. Now, for those managing diabetes, this can definitely be a concern. Regular white potatoes usually have a higher glycemic index, or GI, compared to sweet potatoes. This means they can cause your blood sugar to rise more quickly and sharply. Sweet potatoes, on the other hand, while they're still starchy, do have more fiber and a lower GI. That makes them a slightly better option, but remember, moderation is still super important. The real issue often comes down to how potatoes are cooked and how much you eat. If you overcook them, especially by boiling them until they're super soft, their starches can become even easier for your body to digest. This could potentially increase their impact on your blood sugar. And that's not all. Cooking methods that use high heat for a long time, like deep frying or roasting them too much, don't just pack in more calories. They can also lead to the formation of something called acrylamide, which could be harmful. Critically, these cooking methods can also destroy those heat-sensitive nutrients like vitamin C and B vitamins, meaning you're getting less nutritional bang for your buck. So, portion control is absolutely paramount here. Think about a small baked or boiled potato, maybe about the size of a computer mouse. That's a general guideline, but everyone's tolerance can be different. You also want to be really careful with processed potato products. I'm talking about things like French fries, potato chips, and instant mashed potatoes. These are often loaded with unhealthy fats, sodium, and calories. Plus, their starches are usually processed in a way that makes them digest very quickly, leading to big blood sugar spikes. And because of all that aggressive processing and cooking, they offer minimal nutritional return as the nutrients often get stripped away. All right, so how can you enjoy potatoes in a diabetes-friendly way? Well, your best bet is to choose whole unprocessed potatoes. When it comes to cooking, try baking, steaming, or boiling them with the skin on. This helps keep the fiber and nutrients. But, and this is a big but, try not to overcook them. Steaming them until they're just tender is a much better choice than boiling them vigorously, as that can cause nutrients to leach out. Another great tip is to pair your potatoes with lean protein and non-starchy vegetables. This helps slow down how quickly your body absorbs the sugar. And here's an interesting one. Consider cooling your cooked potatoes before you eat them. This can actually increase their resistant starch content, which is gentler on your blood sugar. Sweet potatoes, when you prepare them carefully and watch your portions, can offer more nutritional benefits like vitamin A, but you still need to eat them mindfully. 2. Corn. Moving on to our second vegetable, corn. Many of us love corn, especially at summer barbecues or as a cozy side dish. But it's another starchy vegetable that really packs a carbohydrate punch. Its glycemic index can change depending on the type and how it's cooked, but it usually falls in the medium to high range. This means it can cause a noticeable rise in your blood sugar levels if you eat a lot of it. Just to give you an idea, a medium ear of corn has about 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrates. That's similar to a slice of bread. So if you're managing diabetes, you really need to account for this carbohydrate load in your meal plan. Now, what about overcooking? If you overcook corn, say by boiling it for a long time, its nutritional value can decrease. Specifically, you might lose some folate and vitamin C. While overcooking doesn't drastically change its starch content like it does with some other veggies, Losing these micronutrients makes it a less beneficial part of a healthy diet. You'll find corn in a few different forms, right? There's fresh on the cob, frozen, canned, and then the highly processed types like corn chips, corn syrup, or polenta. Generally, fresh or frozen corn that's cooked until it's just tender is a better choice than canned corn. Canned varieties often have added sodium or sugars, and they're usually cooked more during the canning process, which means more nutrient loss. As for processed corn products, it's best to be extremely cautious or even avoid them completely. They're typically stripped of fiber and nutrients and can cause your blood sugar to spike really quickly. So, how can you safely include corn in your diet if you have diabetes? Well, portion control is key. Think about half an ear of corn or about half a cup of kernels as one serving. It's also a really good idea to always pair corn with protein and healthy fats. This helps slow down sugar absorption and lessens its impact on your blood sugar. For example, having corn in a salad with some grilled chicken and lots of leafy greens is a much better approach than just eating it by itself as a carbohydrate. So by being mindful of how much corn you eat, what you eat it with, and by not overcooking it to keep those nutrients in, you can definitely still enjoy this sweet vegetable without messing up your blood sugar management. 3. Peas. Next up, let's talk about peas. This includes green peas, split peas, and black-eyed peas. We often think of peas as healthy, and they do offer fiber and protein. However, they are quite a bit starchier than many other green vegetables. This means they have a higher carbohydrate load, which can affect your blood sugar, especially if you eat a lot of them. For example, a cup of cooked green peas has about 20 grams of carbohydrates. Now, when peas get overcooked, their texture isn't the only thing that suffers. They can become mushy and not very nice to eat. More importantly, valuable water-soluble nutrients like vitamin C and B vitamins are significantly reduced, which lessens their health benefits. This is especially true if you boil peas for too long, because those nutrients just leach out into the cooking water. We often see peas in soups, stews, and casseroles. In these dishes, their carbohydrate content can add up pretty quickly, especially if there are other starchy ingredients like potatoes or pasta in there too. While the fiber in peas does help to slow down the blood sugar response compared to starches with less fiber, portion control is still really essential if you have diabetes. So when you're adding peas to your meals, just be mindful of how much you're using. About a half-cup serving is a reasonable amount to include as part of a balanced meal. Think about split pea soup. It's a popular comfort food, but it can be a really concentrated source of carbohydrates. Split peas themselves offer good fiber and protein, but the amount you eat in a typical bowl of soup can be quite a lot. If you love split pea soup, maybe try smaller portions. Make sure it's not too thick with peas, and try to balance it with a low-carb side dish. Another idea is to choose soups that have more non-starchy vegetables in them. When it comes to green peas, the best way to cook them is to steam or stir-fry them lightly until they're just tender crisp. This helps keep their texture, flavor, and most importantly, their nutrients. That way, they can be a positive part of your diabetic meal plan instead of working against it. 4. Beets. All right, number 4 on our list is beets. Beets are those root vegetables famous for their bright color and earthy sweet taste. They do offer some great things like beneficial nitrates and antioxidants. However, they also have a fair amount of natural sugar and a medium glycemic index, which can be a concern for managing blood sugar. How beets affect your blood sugar can really depend on how you prepare them. If you eat them raw or lightly steamed, they generally have a lower impact on your blood sugar compared to beets that are boiled for a long time or roasted for ages. When you overcook beets, especially by boiling them, it doesn't just ruin their texture. It also causes valuable water-soluble vitamins like folate and vitamin C to leach out into the cooking water. So even if the sugar content stays the same, their nutritional contribution goes down. Beets have become pretty popular in salads, often pickled, and also as a main ingredient in juices. Now, a small amount of raw or lightly cooked beet in a salad can add nice flavor and some nutrients. But beet juice? That can be especially problematic if you have diabetes. Juicing concentrates all the sugars and gets rid of the fiber, which can lead to a really fast spike in your blood sugar. Pickled beets might also have added sugars, which would increase their glycemic load even more. So it's really important to read the labels if you're buying pre-prepared beet products. For anyone with diabetes, the hidden risk with beets is often underestimating their sugar content and how much the preparation method matters. So, to enjoy beets more safely, go for smaller portions. You could try grating raw beets into salads, or lightly steaming or roasting them until they're just tender. This helps keep their nutrients and minimizes the glycemic response. Pairing beets with protein and healthy fats can also help buffer their effect on your blood sugar. The bottom line is, beets can definitely be part of a healthy diabetic diet, but you need to be mindful about how much you eat and how you cook them. That's the key to getting their benefits without messing with your glycemic control, and making sure you get the most nutrition without that unwanted sugar rush from overcooked or badly prepared beets. 5. Parsnips and carrots. And finally, let's look at parsnips and carrots. Both of these are root vegetables, and while they are nutritious, they can fall into the medium to high glycemic index category, especially when they're cooked. Parsnips are generally starchier and have more carbohydrates, so they tend to have a higher glycemic impact than carrots. A cup of cooked parsnips can really affect your blood sugar levels if you're not careful. Carrots, on the other hand, especially when they're raw, have a lower GI. But when you cook them, particularly by boiling or roasting for a long time, their GI goes up because the sugars become more readily available. This effect gets even stronger with overcooking. Not only does overcooking make them taste sweeter because the starches break down, but it also destroys a good portion of their heat-sensitive nutrients, like vitamin C and some B vitamins. Now, carrots are famous for beta-carotene, which turns into vitamin A, and that's pretty stable with heat. But other beneficial compounds do suffer. So, just like with the other vegetables we've discussed, the way you prepare them matters a lot for both parsnips and carrots. Raw carrots are a fantastic low GI snack, but if you boil carrots or parsnips until they're very soft, or if you glaze them with sugary sauces, their impact on your blood sugar becomes much stronger, and their nutritional value goes down. Basically, overcooking these root vegetables changes them from a fibrous, nutrient-rich food into something that's softer, sweeter, and unfortunately, less beneficial for you. So, what are the best practices for including these in a diabetic meal plan? Well, for carrots, try to eat them raw or lightly steamed. This helps keep their GI lower and preserves those nutrients. If you're cooking parsnips, keep the portions small. Think about half a cup, cooked, and make sure to pair them with plenty of non-starchy vegetables and protein. When it comes to roasting parsnips or carrots, aim for just tender rather than soft and caramelized. That's definitely preferable to boiling them for a long time. And it probably goes without saying, but try to avoid versions that are candied or heavily glazed. By understanding how cooking changes these vegetables, and by practicing good portion control, you can certainly include them in your diet. This way, they can contribute to your health without negatively affecting your blood sugar or losing their vital nutrients because they've been cooked too much. Other considerations. Now, beyond these specific vegetables, it's really important to remember that the way food is prepared and processed plays a huge role in how it affects your blood sugar and how well it holds onto its nutrients. Overcooking, generally speaking, is a major way that nutrients get destroyed. For instance, boiling foods for a long time can cause water-soluble vitamins, like vitamin C and B-complex vitamins, to leach out into the water. And then, of course, they're just lost down the drain. Frying is another high-heat cooking method that not only adds unhealthy fats and calories, but can also degrade nutrients and even create harmful compounds. Think about canned vegetables, too. They often go through a lot of heating during processing, which means nutrient loss even before you open the can. Plus, they might have added sugars or sodium. And let's not forget sauces and dressings. They can easily turn healthy vegetables into blood sugar traps if they're high in sugar, unhealthy fats, or refined carbohydrates. And of course, portion size is always a cornerstone of managing diabetes, no matter what food we're talking about. Even healthy vegetables that are cooked well can cause problems if you eat too much of them. A great strategy is to pair starchy vegetables with lean protein, healthy fats, and lots of fiber from non-starchy vegetables. This helps slow down how quickly glucose is absorbed. Here's an interesting tip. Some research suggests that eating your vegetables before you eat carbohydrate-rich foods in a meal can actually lead to a lower blood sugar spike after you eat. It's a simple but potentially effective strategy for better glycemic control. So, to wrap things up, while vegetables like potatoes, corn, peas, beets, parsnips, and carrots do offer valuable nutrients, they can also pose risks to your blood sugar if you're not managing them carefully. This is especially true if they're overcooked, which, as we've seen, also depletes their nutritional value. The key takeaways here are moderation, cooking them mindfully to preserve nutrients, and planning your meals strategically. These are all essential for safely including these vegetables in a diabetic diet. Did you find this information helpful for managing your diabetes? If so, please feel free to share this with others who might benefit from it. We'd also love to hear about your experiences or any questions you might have, so please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more expert nutritional guidance to help support you on your health journey.